room.
We're ready. Okay. All right. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us this evening. This is a packed house for our very first board meeting of the school year. We're excited to be here with all of you, our entire community. We have lots to share and lots to learn from you guys, not only tonight, but as we enter the school year. Just as customary, we're going to go ahead and kick it off with roll call. I'd like to welcome all of our board members. I'll now read a roll call of the board to identify who is present with us and who's virtual. Please identify yourself first before speaking for the record, and I'll go through the roll call for each vote this evening. Vice Chair Parker.
Vice Chair Parker present.
Thank you. Commissioner Ames Messenger.
Ames Messenger present.
Thank you. Commissioner Chicas Guzman.
Commissioner Chicas Guzman present.
Thank you. Commissioner Coy. I believe he's going to be absent this evening, but if he joins us virtually, we'll let him in. Commissioner Esposito.
Commissioner Esposito present.
Thank you. Commissioner Kenyatta Bay.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay, present.
Thank you. Commissioner Mohammed. He'll be joining us shortly. Commissioner Redding Lollinger.
Reading Lounger present.
Thank you. Commissioner Scott Woodruff.
Scott Woodruff present.
Thank you. Commissioner Simmons.
Commissioner Simmons, present.
Thank you. Commissioner Slater-Harrington.
Slater Harrington in the house.
All right. And I am also in the house. It's hard to follow up. Is there a motion to reopen tonight's meeting?
So moved Esposito.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Kenyatta Bay.
Excellent. All in favor, Vice Chair Parker,
Yes.
Commissioner Ames Messenger,
Ames Messenger, yes.
Commissioner Chicas Guzman.
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay,
Yes.
Commissioner Mohammed is not here just yet. Commissioner Redding Lollinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott Woodruff,
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons,
Simmons, yes.
Commissioner Slater-Harrington,
Commissioner Slater Harrington. Yes.
and I am also in favor. This motion passes. In recognition of the JROTC from Polytechnic Institute, I invite all of my board members and staff to stand along with our audience.
Hope. Five, peace. Peace and colors. Sir, the Baltimore Polytechnic Institute, Air Force Union, ROTC, MD-93 respectfully request permission to present the colors.
Permission granted.
Thank you, sir. Order, colors. Colors first, march. Color guard, hope. Peace and colors. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order, colors. Colors, post. Cut.
And a round of applause for. And I'd like to turn over to Dr. for the CEO's board, that which goes to Polytechnic Institute for this year.
So good evening. Every year, we present, I've had the opportunity to do it for the last 10 years. We present the CEO's Cup to the junior ROTC team who successfully completes a number of different events, including archery, the drill that we just saw. And our winner for this year is Baltimore Polytechnic Junior ROTC. So I'm going to let the young, strong folks in the room hold the CEO's cup. Congratulations to you all. A fun fact, the Baltimore Polytechnic has won this award for the last 7 years.
To do a quick, Dr. Santalis is going to do a quick photo without the board. Okay. Before you guys go. All right, awesome. Thank you so much. Is there a motion to approve the prior open session minutes?
So moved Esposito.
Thank you, Commissioner Esposito. Is there a second?
Second, Kenyatta Bay.
Thank you, Commissioner Kenyatta Bay. All in favor, Vice Chair Parker,
Yes.
Commissioner Ames Messenger,
Yes.
Commissioner Chicas Guzman,
Yes.
Commissioner Coy, I don't think is online. Nope. Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay,
Yes.
Commissioner Mohammed, Commissioner Redding Lollinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott Woodruff,
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons.
Yes.
Thank you. And Commissioner Slater Harrington?
Yes.
And I'm in favor. This motion passes. Is there a motion to approve the closed session summaries?
So moved, Kenyatta Bay.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Messenger second.
I'll take Commissioner, I'm sorry, Vice Chair this evening. Thank you so much. All in favor, Vice Chair Parker,
Yes.
Commissioner Ames Messenger,
Yes.
Commissioner Chicas Guzman,
Yes.
Commissioner Coy, I'm sorry, Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Redding Lollinger,
Yes.
Commissioners Scott Woodruff.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Simmons.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Slater Harrington.
Yeah.
And I am in favor. Thank you so much. Before we get started this evening, I just want to welcome everybody and thank everybody for the immense amount of effort launching school year 25-26. I am pleased to serve as board chair once again this year, along with our 12 fabulous board members who are supporting student achievement in all of our schools. We have a full board for the first time, and we have our newest board member, Amber Scott Woodruff, who was sworn in by Mayor Scott on August 18th. Just a couple of notes, and I'll let her tell her story, but just a couple of notes that were sent along from Mayor Scott. Amber brings in 15 years of experience across the education sector, serving as an early childhood teacher, network leader, and an educational consultant. So on behalf of the entire board, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to you, and we believe that your presence on the board will support our district and our objectives in serving each and every one of our children here in Baltimore City. So welcome. Turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Chair Sally. Good evening, everyone. I'm Amber Scott Woodruff, and I'm really truly honored to be here in this position. Serving on the board is a responsibility that I absolutely do not take lightly. As Chair Sally mentioned, I'm a former early childhood teacher. I've taught elementary school, served in a variety of roles. And now as a mother, the same high expectations I have for my children's school experience, the joy that I want them to engage in as they, traverse their educational journey, the field trips that they go on, the stretch opportunities, the challenges and frustrations that they'll have with a science class here or there. My hopes and dreams for them are absolutely what I hope and dream for all of our students in city schools. So again, grateful to be here and really just ready to get to work. So thank you.
Excellent. Welcome. Thank you so much. So next, to celebrate and to commemorate all of the hard work that our city school staff have done to support getting ready for the first week of school, myself, along with the CEO and each and every one of our colleagues, had an opportunity to visit a number of schools on the first day of school. I can say for myself, I went to 5 schools. I know Commissioner Mohammed went to 7, and there were a number of commissioners who went to a number throughout the entire week. The board office had an opportunity to capture many of these outings in person. And so I'll turn it over to Lashana to lead us through. We do a video, Lashana, for this one. Oh, Tanisha. Okay. Great. So we will have a video queued up in just a second to capture our first week. And Tanisha, we don't have any sound just yet. Awesome. Thank you so much. So I just want to open the floor to any of my commissioners who want to share the experiences from the first week that they'd like to share with our community. Commissioner Esposito?
Okay, I'll kick us off. So my kiddo started kindergarten. So the first day I actually spent in orientation for our kindergarten class, but I'm happy I got to go to the other schools. I think I went to 4 schools in one day in CLN 5, and it was really neat to meet some of the new principals, some of the older principals that I know. And yeah, it was just really, it's one of my favorite things.
Thank you. Anything additional anybody want to share from the first week? I am going to share. So I had an opportunity to attend the Mayor's Challenge, attendance challenge over at James McHenry. 3rd year in a row at James McHenry for winning that award. Pretty awesome just to see the commitment from the young people and the families who talked about the importance of being in school every single day. So we appreciate that opportunity. Anything else additional before we move forward? All right. And thank you so much, our city
Student
school staff.
Commissioner remarks? Yes. Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. Good evening, City Schools friends, staff, families, and students. I hope you've all enjoyed the first week of school as much as I have senior year. To refresh some minds, I'd like to reintroduce myself. My name is Ira Chicas Guzman, and I'm the Student Commissioner on the school board for school year 25-26. Those who are unfamiliar with the term, I represent all Baltimore City Public Schools students, and I have voting rights with restrictions inside the board. I provide input on student policies and advocate for students in decision-making meetings. Since my election back in June, I've been working hard to educate myself in my role and prepare for this school year. I was an intern in Bloomberg's art internship with Arts for Learning Maryland, which prepared me for professional work for the professional world and my final year in high school. Thanks to the board's resources, I was able to connect with Jameer, a previous student commissioner here at Baltimore City Public Schools, and since then he has been mentoring me along the way, which I'm really thankful for. I attended the National Student Board Association conference for 3 days, then met with student members across boards of Maryland, and learned more about legislative priorities. Lastly, I met with ASCBC's executive board and built relationships with our team while developing SMART goals for the school year. Overall, this summer has helped me progress immensely in preparation for this moment and moving forward. I'd like to thank all organizations mentioned earlier because you've all helped me grow into my position. I'll soon be connecting with our students more, both in person and virtually, so please stay tuned for updates and news. In the end, I want to remind our students to keep pushing forward. In difficult times, keep building up the strength and success you all deserve. Your future self will thank you later. Wishing you all a positive, full of growth school year. Thank you.
So much, Commissioner Chicas Guzman. We appreciate that. Lastly, the board is happy to announce a critical update in the search for our next chief executive officer. As previously mentioned, we are in phase one of the CEO search. In phase one, the board will engage the district's full range of stakeholders to develop a candidate profile that outlines the necessary characteristics and skills needed for the next CEO. We'll ask that the board office share just a slide a little bit more on the information that we'll be partaking in phase one. So after much planning this summer, the board will host 6 community forums as part of the CEO search process. The board invites students, family, staff, and community members to attend this and provide valuable input. This will help the board define the traits, experiences, and priorities that guide the search for the next leader of Baltimore City Public Schools. Along with the board, the mayor's office will host a telephone town hall to kick off as yet another way in which the public can voice their opinion on this important work. As you'll see on the slide above, there's a list of dates and times for each CEO community forum. So kicking off on Monday, September 15th, as we mentioned before, is the Mayor's Town Hall from 6 to 7 p.m. Tuesday, September 16th, will be at Digital Harbor from 6 to 8 p.m. Wednesday, the 17th, from 6 to 8, will also be at Patterson High School. Thursday, September 18th, will be at Baltimore Polytechnic Institute. Friday, September 19th, from 5 to 7, will be at Furley Elementary School. Saturday, September 20th, will be at Calvin and Rodwell Elementary Middle School. And finally, on Thursday, September 25th, the board will host a virtual session from 6 to 8 p.m. and will provide a link with more details coming soon. For more details about the search, the forums, and general information on the CEO search, we invite our public to see the CEO search page on City Schools website. With that takes us to the end of my comments. And we'll now move through our PEP and personnel improvement. Is there a motion to approve the PEP and quasi-judicial matters this evening?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Redding Wallinger. Is there a second?
Second, Esposito.
Thank you, Commissioner Esposito. All in favor, Vice Chair Parker?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Ames Messenger.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Coy. Excuse me, I apologize. Commissioner Esposito.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Kenyatta Bay.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Mohammed.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Redding Wallinger.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Scott Woodruff.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Simmons.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Slater-Harrington. And I'm in favor. This motion passes. I will now turn over to Dr. Santelises for CEO comment.
Thank you very much, Chair. And I actually am going to ask Commissioner Chicas Guzman for this next opening.
Okay, everybody, please help me welcome the school year 25-26 elected members, which will be entering soon, of ASCBC. Yeah. I'm gonna have them wave instead of stand. Is that okay?
But are they gonna do the presentation after we vote?
Please go ahead and wave when your name is called. The following are elected members. Student Commissioner myself, Zyra Chicas Guzman here in the back. President Isaiah Gregory. Vice President Campbell Anderson. Secretary, who is absent, sadly. Oh, okay. Secretary Jaden Moses. Treasurer Derek Carlos. Middle School Executive Amir Bright Matthew Zell. Diversity Committee Chair Camila Van Der Poog Bryant. And next are appointed members. Chief of Staff Taylor Flairling Taylor, Legislative Director Benjamin Grimaldi, Parliamentarian Oscar Diaz, Communications Director Amir Moore, General Assembly Planning Committee Chair Saffron Yordan, Diversity Liaison LGBT Lucy Corna, Diversity Liaison Asian American Marley Andrus, Ad Hoc Member Kazira Asan, thank you. Ad Hoc Member Jonathan Tillman, Ad Hoc Member Science Messiah, Ad Hoc Member Ziva Abel Skinner, Ad Hoc Member Shamaya Hopkins, Ad Hoc Member Jerome Brooks Jr., Ad Hoc Member Zanaya Zaha, Ad Hoc Member Alex Yunga. Thank you all and congratulations.
We are so proud. Thank you so much, Commissioner Chicas Guzman. We are so proud of our elected student commissioners and all of the students across the city who got to take place in electing their leaders. So it's very exciting, and you'll get to hear more from them later on during public comment. I am now going to invite Chief Emily Nielsen forward for this evening's PEP agenda.
Thank you, Dr. Santelises. Good evening, commissioners. If you are on tonight's PEP agenda and in the room, please stand so we can acknowledge you when I read your name. Appointments from the Office of the Chief Academic Officer. Recommended that Kevin Cuppett, formerly Chief Academic Officer, Frederick County Public Schools, be appointed Executive Director, Teaching and Learning, effective September 6, 2025. Recommended that Jordan Stouch, currently Health and Physical Education Teacher at Montgomery County Public Schools, be appointed Coordinator Health, effective September 6, 2025. Recommended that Levi Straight, currently Educational Specialist 2 Mathematics, be appointed Coordinator Mathematics, effective September 6, 2025. Recommended that Michael Turlick, currently School Success Liaison Mathematics, be appointed Coordinator Math Coach Development, effective September 6, 2025. Appointments from the Office of the Chief of Schools. Recommended that Janice Nolan, currently Educational Consultant, be appointed Assistant Principal at Clay Hill Public Charter School, effective August 23, 2025. Recommended that John Robinson, currently Educational Specialist 2 Suspension Services, be appointed Assistant Principal at Coppin Academy, effective September 6, 2025. And reassignments from the Office of the Chief Human Capital Officer. Sherry Brown, currently Secretary on External Assignment, be reassigned Secretary on External Assignment, effective July 1, 2025. Lisa Ross, currently Specialist 3 Related Services, be reassigned Specialist 3 Related Services External Assignment, effective July 1st, 2025. Clyde Boatwright, currently School Police Corporal, be reassigned School Police Corporal External Assignment, effective July 1st, 2025. Patrice Johnson, currently Custodial Worker 12-month, be reassigned Custodial Worker 12-month External Assignment, effective July 1st, 2025. Maxine Holmes, currently Specialist Employee Relations, be reassigned Specialist Employee Relations External Assignment effective July 1st, 2025. And from the Office of the Chief Financial Officer, Ayana Jenkins, currently Manager, Strategy and Systems, be appointed Director, Accountability and Training effective August 23rd, 2025. Congratulations to everyone on tonight's PEP agenda.
Great. Thank you, Chief Nielsen, and congratulations, everyone. As Chief Sally shared earlier last week, I was very excited to greet young people and their families during the return to school. It was my first day as a Baltimore City School CEO. And it was just as special, if not a little more so, this year, just because we had wonderful, crisp fall weather, which does not often happen for first day of school in Baltimore City. But it really was a great time. I got a chance, like Chair Sally and our Board of Commissioners, to visit a number of schools. I focused in on some of our new principals this past week, and we'll continue with that. I just want to say a big thank you for being able to start the school year with real significant progress in motion. Thanks to our continuing focus on attendance, and by attendance, we mean every student being in every school every day. We are thrilled that our chronic absentee rate continued to decrease by more than 2 percentage points, which might sound like a small amount, but it means that more than 1,300 fewer students were chronically absent last year. Since the 21-22 school year, we have reduced chronic absenteeism by more than 11 percentage points. That is due to the hard work of our teachers, of our families, school leaders, our fabulous attendance team, and just really a citywide effort to push to make sure that all young people are in school on time and ready to learn. I also want to give a special shout out to Principal Danita Plain, her staff, and the students of James McHenry Elementary Middle, who, as we heard, have won the Mayor's Attendance Award for school year 2025 by increasing their school's attendance rate by 5.6 percentage points and decreasing their chronic absentee rate, wait for it, by more than 23 percentage points year over year. Congratulations to the James McHenry team. And I just want to also say a big thank you to Mayor Brandon Scott for his unwavering support in this critical endeavor. For those of you who don't know, the mayor is a fierce competitor. So he really likes coming out and celebrating our young people on our team for all their great work. So thank you, Mayor. Last week, the Maryland State Department of Education released more good news for city schools. They released the results for last spring's Maryland Comprehensive Assessment Program, or as we all like to call it, MCAP. And I am very pleased to report that city school students increased both their ELA proficiency and their math proficiency in every grade tested year over year. Now, in the first 9 years of my tenure, overall literacy gains in city schools have outpaced the state, increasing by 15.9 percentage points versus statewide growth of 9 percentage points in that period. In addition, we continue to see outpaced statewide gains in mathematics last year, and we matched the state's 2.4 percentage, gain this past year. I want to be able to shout out in particular, well, first I'm going to call Chief Jones and Chief Dabrowski forward for a deeper presentation for the public. As they come, I do want to give a special shout out because high school folks tend to think that I pick on them because they can be some cranky little people. And I just want to give a special shout out to our high school teams, high school leaders, high school teachers, and high school students and families, most importantly. We have seen record gains in high school ELA, 8 percentage points. And I will say, I talked to Roger Shaw, who is one of the OGs of high school in Baltimore City, and he verified for me with the data saying we have never seen gains this high in 1 year for high school. So shout out to Baltimore City Public High Schools. Nicely done. And with that, I will turn it over to Chief Dabrowski and Chief Jones to walk us through an overview of the data for our city schools community. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much, Dr. Santelises, Chair Sally, Vice Chair Parker. Good evening, everyone. I'm Joan Dabrowski, Chief Academic Officer. It's a privilege to be here tonight to share with you our continued growth and improvement on the Maryland Comprehensive Assessment Program. So if we go to the next slide, as Dr. Santelises just shared, City Schools has experienced 9 years of sustained growth in literacy under her leadership. You can see some of the highlights here. Of particular note is the 15.9 percentage point improvement, while again outpacing the state. You can see this year we're pleased to see a continued gain, 3.5 percentage points. And again, I think the work that we're seeing across multiple student groups is something that is very exciting. I think the other space that we want to just note here is since 2022, which were again very difficult times as we were coming out of the pandemic, we have seen 8.8 percentage point increase, which is again something to be very proud of. If we go to the next slide, we've experienced the last 3 years of sustained growth in mathematics. And again, you can see that we have improved in every grade for the 3rd year, which is very exciting to see. This year, we have the same gain as the state. We're proud of that. And again, we're looking at our student groups, and it's exciting to see that our Hispanic students outpace the state in their math gains this year. If we go to the next slide, I think there's an important narrative here about the investments that City Schools has made and continues to make that is fueling this growth. So in the area of literacy, we are proud that we have expert literacy coaches in all of our schools. We anchor our literacy teaching in the science of reading, and we continue to focus on writing because we know that that is something that connects across all content areas. In mathematics, we have done an initial wave of implementation of high quality materials. We have invested in more professional learning that is very specific, and we are increasing the number of our math experts building on what we are learning from our literacy work. Go to the next slide. Of particular excitement this year is the growth that we saw in high school, as Dr. Santelises just mentioned. In our ELA 10th grade, we saw that in many places we had double-digit growth. Again, we have seen 10 percentage points over the last 2 years. This particular year, from 24 to 25, we saw an 8% increase. It was the largest of any grade in ELA literacy this year. So I'd like to take a pause and just really shout out our English teachers, our high school communities, our principals, our high school scholars who are showing what they can and are capable of. So again, huge shout out to that. And then in our mathematics, again, we're seeing more and more improvement when our young people can experience algebra earlier in their career. So again, that 7th and 8th grade algebra is another bright spot for us, improving by over 5 percentage points. And overall, our work in algebra has nearly doubled since 2023, something again to be very proud of. And while there is much to be proud of, there are also areas which we know we must attend to if we're going to get the accelerated growth that our young people need in order to be ready for a successful future. And so as we drill down into the data, we see that in grades 4 and 5 in particular, in our ELA literacy scores, we need to do more to support those students to be on grade level. So we're going to be talking about some strategic work in the space of reading to help those students. We know those are the students who spent their early grades, kindergarten, 1st grade, in a virtual learning experience and setting. And so we have to be particularly vigilant on our efforts to support those young people. In math, grades 5, 6, and 7 made smaller improvements. Now, I want to just lift up. We're seeing improvements, but we need accelerated improvements. We need to see the gains that we're seeing in high school and algebra if we want for those gaps to narrow, which is what we're all working towards. So we know that in mathematics, there's some work to do to prioritize some foundational skills so that our students can make sure they are solid in those foundations as they move to more complex mathematical learning. And then our students with disabilities, we continue to see that this is a student group with the lowest performance across both ELA and in mathematics. So again, learning from what we've done in literacy, which is to identify groups of educators to lead and learn from and with. We think about this work of fellowship, and we've done this in other areas in literacy and in math, and we're excited this year that we will be launching a special educator fellowship, starting with some work in that ELA literacy space. So with that, I'm going to now turn it over to my colleague, Chief Teresa Jones, who will walk us through some more specific data across each of these content areas.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dabrowski. Good evening, Dr. Santelises, members of the board, as well as public representatives that are present. My name is Teresa Jones, and I have the privilege of serving Baltimore City Public Schools as our Chief Achievement and Accountability Officer. It's my pleasure to take you through some of the highlights from a data perspective as it relates to this year's MCAP performance. We'll start first with literacy, where we are celebrating the 9 years of sustained growth. Next slide, please. So in terms of how we should read these slides, so we have Maryland versus city schools depicted. Maryland is in the blue, city schools is in the black. What you'll note here is the continual increases of both of these lines. And if you take a look at the most recent line, you'll see that that marks our highest level of ELA proficiency since 2016-17. Furthermore, if you take a look at the distance between those two lines, you'll see that we are closing the gap. And that, again, is partly because we have continued to outpace the state with our year-over-year increases in our overall ELA proficiency. Next slide, please. When we take a look at the proficiency by grade, again, you'll see that we are seeing increases across the board. As we've highlighted, ELA 10 has that highest bar that you see there towards the right. That is our highest rate of improvement, and it is the grade by which we have the highest level of proficiency. You'll also see some noteworthy increases for grades 3 and 7. However, you'll see that there are smaller increases in certain grades, as Dr. Dabrowski noted, particularly in ELA 4 and 5. One of the things that we have noted is that when we think about how these young people started their educational career, these are our young people that started when we were in these virtual settings. So their start on the ELA front took a little bit of a different turn than what we typically see. The other thing that we want to note, though, is that we are seeing a large increase in grade 3. So we are setting the stage for being able to continue that level of proficiency improvement over time as we have our young people traverse through their academic journey. Next slide, please. When we take a look at student groups, first, we just want to be able to showcase what that looks like by race ethnicity. Again, we have most of our student groups here showing increases, with the one exception being our Asian student group. Some of our student groups are much smaller than others, so please take note of that. However, to be able to see increases is what we want to continue to see over time. Also acknowledging that there are still notable gaps and that we want to continue to close those gaps in accelerating the rate of increase from some of our lower performing student groups. Next slide, please. Also, when we take a look at student groups, we look at what we call sort of the service groups, if you will. And so here again, you see that there are increases. And so noting again the charge for acceleration, we also want to continue to accelerate growth as depicted by the student groups represented. And as Dr. Dabrowski noted, students with disabilities is the student group that is showing the lowest performance. Next slide, please. Taking a look at math, we'll take a look at the last 3 years of sustained growth. Next slide. So here we have a little bit of a different story. So again, same depiction in terms of the blue versus the black lines. One of the things that you'll note, though, is prior to the pandemic, you saw that Baltimore City was on a little bit of an increase. Since then, since the return in 21-22, you'll see that there's a steeper increase there, right? So part of what that tells us is that we are starting to make up some ground. However, we still need to do more. And that is really the key takeaway when you take a look at this slide. So again, while we have seen some level of increases over time, number one, we want to acknowledge that that most recent increase is actually on pace with the state. which is at 2.4 points. But since we came back from the pandemic in 2022, we've actually increased 5.6 points. Again, another call for acceleration to help close the gap and to have more of our young people proficient in math. Next slide, please. When it comes to the results by grade, it's really an interesting story here. So first and foremost, we see increases across every grade for the third consecutive year, and that's news for us to celebrate. And then when we take a look at where we see the highest rates of improvement, one of the highest bars that you see there is in grade 3. One of the things that I will note for you, however, is that if you take a look at the pattern of grade 3 to grade 4 to grade 5 to grade 6, each of the years we're starting to see a bit of a decrease, right? And so one of the things that we are taking note of is the ability for us to actually sustain and increase proficiency as students are progressing from grade 3 on up. The other thing we'll talk about in just a moment is we'll take a look at Algebra 1. Algebra 1 is a little bit of a different animal, partly because we have students from various grades that actually take the Algebra 1 assessment. And so we're going to take a look at what that means when we break down the rates of improvement between those groups. Next slide, please. When we take a look at math overall by student group, you'll see again, most of our student groups have shown increases here. However, we still see the persistent gap across the race ethnicity categories. Another call to action for us to consider to accelerate progress. Next slide. And then as noted, in terms of students with disabilities, we can see here where that is continuing to show up as our lowest performance student group. Next slide. So in terms of Algebra 1, here again, this is the sort of the preview that I was alluding to earlier. When we take a look at which students are taking the Algebra 1 assessments, we've been increasing the level of access in the earlier grades. So we have over 1,000 students in grades 7 and 8 for each of these 3 years that have actually taken this assessment. Generally speaking, those students tend to outperform those students that are in the high school grades taking Algebra 1. And part of that is because they're showing a stronger mathematical foundation, which is allowing them to get access to Algebra 1 earlier. And so we're also encouraged here to see that rather than being flat over the last couple of years like we were from 23 to 24, we're actually seeing an uptick in the performance of those grade 7 and 8 students. We are also seeing an uptick for our high school students, but certainly recognize that there's a lot of work to be done there to be able to get more and more of our young people to be proficient in Algebra 1. Next slide. In terms of performance for the MCAP, we often focus on the English language, arts, literacy, and our mathematics subject. We also want to acknowledge that the state has also released our science assessment results for MCAP, which is called the Maryland Integrated Science Assessment, or the MESA assessment. This is an assessment that is given once in elementary and once again in middle school. That is for grades 5 and 8, and those are the results that we're sharing this evening. Next slide, please. So when we take a look at our results here, one of the things that we are noting is that last year, there was a notable decline both for the state and for city schools. Our decline was not as steep as the state's in grade 5 last year. However, we are seeing that both city schools and Maryland are rebounding this year based on some increases represented by grade 5. We also recognize that there's still significant work to do in this space as well, based on the proficiency levels that are represented. Next slide, please. So here again, when we take a look at the results broken down by race ethnicity group, we see that we have some large deltas between our white student group and some of our other student groups as noted. There are some groups that did see increases and others that did not. Next slide, please. When it comes to grade 8, again, we are also seeing upward trends there from 24 to 25. And what you'll see noted here is that while we both have increases, the state's increase is at a steeper incline. So the state has actually outpaced us with the level of increase as it relates to the 8th grade MESA assessment. Next slide. Okay. And then in terms of the race ethnicity breakdown, again, similar picture. With the exception here is that all of our race ethnicity groups are actually showing increases on the grade 8 MESA assessment. Next slide. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Dabrowski to talk about our path forward. One note regarding the data. First, want to acknowledge that the state has released these results publicly now on the Maryland Report Card. So in addition to what we are highlighting here this evening, there's certainly an opportunity to dig a bit deeper. So there are data downloads that are available there. The state also presented the results statewide as well as for the local school systems at their state board meeting a week ago. That presentation is publicly accessible as well. And then last but not least, wanting to acknowledge that while we're highlighting district level results this evening, those results also include schools. And so one of the things that we are proud to see is that we do have large numbers of schools that have continued to sustain their level of improvement year over year, many of whom were recognized at our CEO's kickoff address as we started the new school year. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Dabrowski.
Thank you so much, Chief Jones. All right, so as we think about our path forward in each of the areas, as I mentioned, we've done some great work in city schools investing in high quality materials. Part of our path forward is to continue to support our teachers and the skillful use of those materials. We want to help our teachers also know where the priorities are across our grade levels and thinking about those focused priorities in the areas of literacy. So we think about things like rhyming for our youngest learners and the importance of phonics and building on understanding and the importance of writing. We're excited that the work we started last year in the Writing Revolution, which is again strategies that we can incorporate into our curriculum, that we're going to expand that across multiple grades and be able to use a lot more tools from that resource. And as I mentioned earlier, looking at that grade 4 and 5 data, there's going to be some strategic work we do for what we call our striving readers, so those readers who are not yet on grade level. And then we're also very excited that this fall we'll be launching our family guides, which are tools to really encourage literacy learning at home for our families. So again, lots to look forward to in our ELA literacy work. If we go to the next slide in mathematics, again, as I mentioned, we will be moving into full implementation of our high quality materials, having a full launch of our Reveal Mathematics program, something we're very excited about. Similar to literacy, we've identified key priorities in math to really help focus in on the most essential things for our young people, things like numeracy, fact fluency, understanding fractions, proportion, and all towards this work in algebra, and investing in more algebra tutoring, particularly in our high schools. We want to see more math experts in our schools. So again, building off that work of literacy coaches, we're expanding the number of coaches that we have in our schools for math. We want to pay attention to the support that we give to our teachers, particularly our early career teachers who are teaching math. So we've got particular professional learning opportunities tailored to that early career teacher. We've got a number of pilots that we run in mathematics to learn, and there are a couple right now that feel particularly timely when we think about fluency and algebra readiness. And as we're thinking about what happens in grades 4 through 7, we really want to learn from those pilots and bring those ideas to scale as quickly as we can in service of improved and accelerated growth. And then finally, similar to ELA, we have the math family guides. Again, both of these guides are a pre-K through 5 resource, again, to strengthen that at-home school connection that we're really working to do. And we're really grateful for partnering with our Office of Families and Community Engagement to build those alongside academics. And they'll be launching this fall. So again, a lot to look forward there too. And then finally, I want to come to the space of science. Those science scores that we saw are ones that also need our vigilance. We need to support our schools on how we prioritize time for science instruction. We have high quality materials. We need to support the strong implementation. We need to help our teachers and leaders understand the demands of MISA. There is a lot that's asked there for an exam that is actually cumulative over multiple grades. So grade 5 is not just assessing grade 5 content. It is the content that leads to grade 5, and similarly in grade 8. So with that, we're working to just build our understanding of the exam, but also knowing that writing plays a key role. We're excited that some of that work with the Writing Revolution will have intentional focus on the MISA tested grades to help our students bolster their space of science writing. And again, similar to what we're doing in literacy and in math, where we can, make sure we have more science leads in our buildings to help grow that science expertise at the school level. And with that, that concludes our presentation, and we'll be open for questions. So thank you so much.
Okay. So we'll turn it over to the full board for any questions that we'd like to address. Commissioner Mohammed.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the presentation. I am pleased to hear that we continue as city schools to increase the effectiveness around learning. I think that there are areas that we can pull from here, and I want to make sure that we're doing that. So there are some wins that are here, and there are some areas that still need support.
We see heavy wins with regards to our third graders, but we see a drop off when it comes to our fourth, fifth, sixth graders. I want to know, or at least start to understand why. Are we providing the same resources to the teachers that are providing academics to our third graders? Are we providing those same resources to the rest of our teachers? When we look at special education, are we using full-time teachers? Are we using contractors? Are we using international teachers? What's the difference? Because there has to be something that's there that we're doing different. It's the same curriculum, it's the same push, but we're seeing something different during that transition year of third to fourth grade. So if there's any insight you can give us there, I'll stop there, and I have one more before I pass it along to my colleagues.
So I think the couple of things I want to bring to the ground. So yes, our third grade teachers receive the same resources that our fourth and fifth grade teachers. So I want to just provide that reassurance. They are the materials that we're using across our grade levels. As we think about the third grade experience, one thing that we are noticing both with our MCAP and some of our internal diagnostic is that their strong foundation that we're seeing. So if we even go back to when I come to the board with our kindergarten readiness assessment, we see some of that strong start fueling a strong third grade performance. And we do see that in both ELA and mathematics. So that's one pattern that we're looking at and noticing, that there is something that seems to be some momentum that comes from K through 2 that leads to those strong starts. We also know that there is a time in that elementary journey where things move from concrete to abstract. And so where some of the foundations must be solid for our young people then to grasp the more complex, whether it's moving from sight words and simple decoding to multisyllabic words, or moving from the memorizations of facts to understanding fractions and proportions. So there's also a content shift that occurs. And so part of what we've been trying to drill down into is understanding by item on these assessments where there is the gap and where we need to become more vigilant in watching and monitoring progress and seeing where if a student is not mastering something on a curriculum test, a unit test, we're going back and doing that reteaching. What we're seeing is our students are coming in strong and there's something happening there that we need to dig into. Is it the fact that the content is becoming more complex? Is it that the test becomes more challenging and so therefore we need to think about pacing of our materials? So there are a number of factors that we're looking at. I think your point around special education and general education is an excellent question. We do need to make sure that we are holding our students with disabilities to that same level of rigorous teaching, knowing that they may have IEP goals that require a level of differentiation and very intentional support, while at the same time, though, ensuring they have access to our core curriculum. So that is work that we are looking at very seriously in terms of how we monitor their IEP goals, and certainly double downing on making sure all of our general educator and special educators receive the same kind of training with the same resources and having access to that tier 1 material. But it is work that we need to continue and have a level of vigilance around.
Thank you, Dr. Dabrowski. I think one thing I would just add is there's also this piece of how writing factors into all the content areas. And so one of the things that we're continuing to take a look at is with the work that we're doing around the Writing Revolution, that we are seeing some increases there in terms of the schools that have adopted that program and how their students are performing on the MCAP. Again, it's in the early stages, but it is promising and it's a part of the continued expansion of that particular body of work. What that also then means when it comes to math is that in terms of the way that the MCAP assessment actually is scored, is it does require you to actually explain how you're getting certain answers with certain types of questions and the problem solving that you have to represent. So it's also making sure that our young people are able to clearly communicate in that way so that they can demonstrate their proficiency in those types of questions as well.
Thank you. And for the sake of time, my next question, you can provide in writing to the board. I think that it's important to ensure we protect these areas where we see increased proficiency. And for us as a board, that protection lives in the budget. So being able to inform the board on where these items actually live, where we're making a financial investment, so that as a board, we can continue to secure that financial investment and, if at all possible, scale both with your effort and with our ability to scale it within the budget. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And I will say, we will absolutely get it in writing. I will say one investment that I want all the board to hear and the public is our investment in coaches is the right investment. And it is an investment that causes sort of a bit of angst because it's another position, but it's an expert in our schools supporting our teachers right down the hallway, which I think is a really powerful investment for us to sustain.
Thank you, Chief Dabrowski. Thank you, Commissioner Mohammed. Commissioner Esposito?
Yes, so I have a kind of like a question and analysis of like education broadly, especially when it comes to special education, because I know that we have like a lot of kids on wait lists that may not be diagnosed or in the process of getting diagnosed, and parents that are simultaneously trying to learn about those conditions and advocate for them as best as they can. And so seeing the numbers of how, kids in special education are doing on these tests and in the district, I'm trying to think of like how we can create a culture for special education and accommodations that's not just left up to just special education teachers, but creating a culture where every teacher leans into special education and it's not a burden to like have an IEP or 504, because I feel like the kids are getting it and they're being more supportive of like neurodivergent kids. And as someone that's late diagnosed, I know my education experience would have been much different had I had a diagnosis, had I had those supports. And I know that fall off period was around third grade. So it's very interesting to me to see the data reflect that. And so I'm wondering like how specifically kids in special education, like if there's something that we can do to just like really evaluate students that are in special education, or what percentage of IEPs are being accepted from Kennedy Krieger or other places the first time around without the advocacy, because that takes so much time from parents to be able to like get it implemented, and it's a lot of effort. And yeah, so I just wonder how we can create more supports.
Thank you for that question. And I think there's a couple of things I'd like to say in response. The first is I couldn't agree more that how we support